As a child, I'm the last child born of 4 children, 2 girls and a boy. My brother was closest to my age, and the 2 older sisters. And we lived in Harlem. My father was a minister. And what I recall about being a child was the time that I had alone. I recall my imagination and fantasies. I remember my sisters and my brother, but mostly my mother. What I inherited from her was a kind of mother wit, a kind of wisdom, a kind of understanding about people in life, I think. I found her helpful. And what I liked about her was how she laughed. I enjoyed her. She enjoyed conversation and laughter. My father was from Barbados, and my mother was from Virginia. So in some ways, that's the sort of what would you call it? Intercultural. 2 different cultures coming together.
Sure.
Different mindsets, intercultural marriage. Whether it's radio, television, phonograph, recordings, movies, publishing, I would say that that's what my drive is, to communicate effectively to all people in general, and particularly to African American audience. My brother died before my mom, I think maybe about 7 years ago. And my sister died, my oldest sister, Doris Troy. She died after my mom. So there's just the 2 of us left, myself and my sister Joyce, which is the middle sister. And we're very close. And I was always close with my older sister. She was extremely helpful to us, to the entire family. She is a performer and a singer. So
I know her song.
Yes. So she went out on her own early on, but she always looked back to us and looked out for us. And she was always very supportive of, especially me. I felt very close to her. My major at FIT was fashion, buying, and merchandising. That was the curriculum at that time. And my idea was to travel around the world and bring back the clothes that people wanted to buy. Yes. That was the dream. I worked in the field, both part-time and full-time. But in that time, there weren't many African Americans who were allowed to climb the ranks, so to speak, or to be a buyer. It wasn't until many years later that that happened. I was discouraged by that and thought that I could do something different. I recall the only job that I've ever walked out on was one where I became an assistant buyer to a woman who was the buyer of coats at Gimbel's. I looked at her, I looked at the coat department, I looked at where she was sitting, I looked at her pictures on the wall, and I said, this is not who I want to be. And I left. I called my mom and said, Ma, I don't want to do this.